Hello, hello. Welcome to Whole Lotta Heart, where we talk about grief, healing, growing through the hard stuff, and learning to love ourselves through it all. I'm Kayla, your host, your hype girl, and your safe space. Whether you're deep in your feelings or just trying to keep it together, pull up a seat, child, because this space was made for hearts like yours. So, take a deep breath, because today we're going to be talking about that day. The day that split your life into a before and after. The day your heart broke and now somehow the world just keeps going. Some people call it a death anniversary. Some call it a remembrance day. Some of us just look at the calendar and go, oh, that day is coming up again. Yeah, we don't love that one, right? And I wasn't going to talk about this week, but my death anniversary of the loss of my mom just passed on August 10th, and it was the best one yet. And I know that may sound weird to say, but it was really such a good day, such a, happy day, such a fun-filled day. So I thought that this would be a good time and that I was in a good enough place to talk about it. So here's the thing though. This day doesn't have to only be about pain. It doesn't have to be the yearly emotional ambush where, you hide under a blanket with Netflix and, you get a family-sized bag of chips. Although if that's your vibe, zero judgment because I've been there. But today I just wanted to talk about what this day really is and why it sometimes feels heavier than others and how you can gently, without the toxic positivity, you can gently start to make space for it to be about love and the connection, and it can be joyful. And spoiler alert, joy and grief can sit at the same table without starting a fight. Who would have thought, right? So why does this date feel like someone's putting a weighted blanket on your chest every time it rolls around? Why? It's because, and this is wild, but your heart and your body remembers. Like it has like a timer on it. It knows that the day is coming up. And you can delete it from your Google Calendar or your iCloud calendar. You can never speak about it out loud, and still your body, your mind, your spirit will go, hey, remember around this time ago, this happened? Yeah, that's today. It's coming up, okay? It's like an emotional memory that you have. You know what happened on that day. You know how you felt. And the memories leading up to it are just as loaded, right? The last time you saw that person, the last text, the last laugh, the last conversation, the last look, the last anything you had with them. And for me, I noticed that the heaviness doesn't start just on the date. It begins even before the date. So like for me, with the whole loss of my mom, it was like a month-long process, right? So she started to decline in July and then she passed in August. So in the beginning part of July, I start to feel it. Once I get over it, and my body comes back around to the August date. So there's the lead up to it. And sometimes it's the little things that, like I'm scrolling and I stop on an old photo longer than usual. I start daydreaming a little bit more and recalling memories that happened around that time. Or, I might just get quiet because my brain is like, it feels like it's clearing space for something big or to have this emotional response to the memory of what's coming up. And it's not just about missing them. It's about remembering everything that changed from that day forward, which is why, whether it's the first anniversary or the 15th, it can still feel like someone pressed the slow motion button on you, like you're moving in slow motion, or somebody put that weighted blanket on your chest. It's just heavy. That's why it feels that way. But I want to talk about the science behind it. There's actually a name for this whole weird thing, this emotional countdown that your body does to the anniversary, and it's called the anniversary effect, because your body does remember things mentally and physically. And basically your brain has this little filing cabinet right? Of all the major events that happen in your life. And when certain dates come up, especially the traumatic ones, your body goes, uh-oh, okay, it's time to feel something because this date happened. And during this time, this is what you felt, right? You might not even realize what's happening until you check the calendar and go, oh, that explains why I cried at a TikTok about a dog learning to use the stairs. I'm just super emotional. And this is what was happening to me maybe like a week before, my mom's anniversary this year. I was crying about everything. I was crying about everything. Chris Brown released a song called Holy Blindfold, and it's not a sad song by any means, but I got emotional about it. I was emotional about taking piano lessons when I was a kid and my old piano teacher. I was just crying about everything that normally would make me happy. My body was just responding to things, or responding to these emotions that I was having, even though maybe the tears were misplaced, but my body knew that this was around the time of everything happening. And, it can look like being extra tired for some. It can look like feeling restless, zoning out mid-conversation, or even being irrationally irritated by things that normally wouldn't bother you. Like, why was this person so extra happy? They said, have a great day. That might make you want to cry, right? Or in my case, listening to Chris Brown made me cry. I have no clue why, but it's like it's your grief alarm clock. And sadly, there's no snooze or stop button for it. It just keeps ringing and keeps going until it's over, right? But understanding that this is a thing, at least for me, is weirdly comforting. It makes me feel like I'm not being overly dramatic, like I'm not being too sensitive, like I'm not crazy. This is normal. It's literally your brain, my brain, and my body remembering and just recalling the time that it was in. So death anniversaries are, I would say, like a mystery box, like the ultimate mystery box. You don't know what you're getting until you open it. Some years you're bracing yourself like it's going to be the end of the world, right? And then you end up having a really good day. Other years you think you're going to be fine because, you had a really good day last year, and then maybe you forgot the date, and then wham, grief just comes in like, surprise, girl, I still live here. And the feelings, they're like, I don't know, it's like a buffet of feelings. You get sadness, you might have anger, you might have gratitude, you might feel pride, you might be numb. You could be laughing so hard at a memory that you have that you forget for a second that they're gone. Then you can be crying so hard that you forget what you were even doing before. And I've had years where, within the 4 years of, celebrating death anniversaries, I felt everything in the same 30 minutes. Like I went from happiness because I was thinking about her and some funny things she did, my mom. And then I start crying because it was like, oh snap, today is the day she's not here. And then the next I was upset because she wasn't here. And then I just kind of went numb all in 30 minutes. And that's not being emotionally unstable at all. That's just love. This is what happens when someone who really mattered to you deeply, you were very close to them. This is what happens when you are experiencing the memory of them. And the feelings, they are big because the love was big. And it isn't something that I think we should suppress. I think we should let happen. So if you experience all those emotions within 30 minutes, let it be. Just let them ride out. It's what needs to happen for your body. And I will say at the end of my, I don't want to call it a crash out, but at the end of my 30-minute emotional whirlwind, I felt oddly at peace, and I was able to go on through the day more positively. Now, here's where I want to be super clear, okay? I want to talk about reframing the death anniversary without forcing positivity. Okay. Reframing a death anniversary is not about slapping a smile on and pretending that you're fine. That's not what I mean by any means. And we're not doing grief with a side of toxic positivity over here at Whole Lotta Heart, okay? For me, the reframing happened almost by accident. One year, I don't know what happened. I just didn't want to feel like I was dreading the day. I felt like I could not spend another anniversary staring at the wall and feeling like a whole day is a loss type of thing. Even though I'm only four anniversaries in, so I don't know what the future will bring. But it was maybe last year. I felt like I don't want to be dreading this day. And last year was great too because my friends and I had taken a trip to Toronto, so they kind of occupied me for the day. And I realized, and we had a moment where we acknowledged my mom and we talked about her for a little bit. And I realized that this day didn't have to be sad. It didn't have to be me crying on the couch eating a tub of ice cream. It didn't have to be that. It can be that if that's what makes you feel better. But for me, I personally enjoyed the happiness and the positivity a little bit better. So that's where the reframe actually happened for me. And it was totally by accident. I wasn't planning to shift gears here. But I did just feel like I didn't want to spend the whole day being sad about her. So instead of letting the date happen to me, I decided to start to shape it and shape it how I wanted it. And I asked myself if this day could be about the love instead of only the loss, what would that look like? And honestly, it felt good. It felt great. I felt like a weight was lifted off of my shoulders. Like I still had my moments, of course. I still cried tears. Of course I did. But I also felt closer to my mom because I knew that she wouldn't want me here moping around, just crying about her. She would want me to live my life and remember her in the most positive way as possible because that's just who she was. She wasn't a sad person. She was a bubbly person, always doing something, always positive, always helping. And that's how she would have wanted me to remember the day and celebrate the day. And I felt like I had found a way to carry her forward, not just look backward on what happened. And it made me think, at least in my case, also that my mom, before she passed, was in pain and she was suffering. It hurt her to eat, it hurt her to drink. And I know it sounds cliche, but I knew that she didn't have to feel that anymore once she passed. And to me that was enough to celebrate because I didn't want my mom suffering the way that she did, right? So to celebrate the fact that she wasn't, and now she was out of pain, and what I believe she's with God in heaven now, that's a celebration. So that helped me also to reframe this into a positive day because I know where she is. And reframing the death anniversary isn't about replacing the grief. It's not, because you can't get rid of the grief. You can shape how you want it to be. You can learn how to navigate it, but you can't replace it. And it's about adding joy to the mix. It's like, redoing a playlist. At least this is how I see it in my head. So you don't delete the sad songs. You just add some that make you dance too, right? You have a little sprinkle of sadness, a little sprinkle of emotions, right? But then you mix it up with some fast dance tunes, some dance bops, right? So we don't ever want to replace it. We never want to try to forget how we feel. But we don't have to be stuck in the negative all the time. So I wanted to just talk about some creative ways to honor the day, because obviously I've talked about reframing it, but how do you actually do this? So I've done some research on this just to see what others have done. And here's the list that I found that I think are beautiful ways to help you honor your person. And you can mix and match these, make these your own. So the first one is to cook their signature dish. Bonus points if you rope in a friend or a family to help you, and then you can tell stories about your person while you cook. It's a great way to really feel like they're there and to really feel like their presence is over you, their spirit is with you, and it's a warm memory. Food, for some reason, just brings up positive memories, and it's always a good time. Then I saw an idea of having what's called their favorites day, where you know, whether it's music, movies, foods, places, you just want to fill the day with all their favorite things. Sort of like you are curating their ultimate Pinterest board. I think that's really great because their favorites are their favorites. They may not be your favorites, but it's like a little piece of them that you remember. You remember who they are. All their favorites make up their personality. So it's like having a little bit of them with you while you're doing all the things. And then another thing I saw or that I thought about was acts of kindness in their honor. So this would have been great for my mom. I haven't done this yet, but it would have been great for her to honor her. But it would be like, buy somebody's coffee that day, or donate to a special cause, tip extra, leave a sweet note on someone's windshield, just to make somebody's day. I have thought about this because my mom used to donate to St. Jude's Hospital, which provides cancer care and resources to families of children who have cancer. And she donated faithfully for years. And you know, that ended obviously when she passed, but I thought about restarting that because that would make her happy. That would help some families. So that could be like her little acts of kindness in her honor. Then there's the legacy letter. And I thought this was interesting. And it would be every year you would write them a letter catching them up on your life, keeping all the things you're doing in the letter and keep them in a special box. Keep all the letters in a special box. So that way you can read them to her or read them to whoever you lost. You can feel like you are still talking to them and still updating them. I thought that was a really beautiful way to honor your person. Then there's a memory walk. Go somewhere that holds a memory with them and let yourself linger there for a little bit. So, quick story, last year for my 30th birthday, I went on a short walk at the marina here where I live. And my mom and I together spent so much time at the marina, and she even spent a lot of time there alone, even without me. And we went there every summer, and I haven't been back since her passing. So last year for my birthday, I made it a point. I was turning 30. I said, I'm going to face this going to the marina without her, and let the emotions hit, walk the path we used to walk together, and just remember her. And it was really sweet. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful day outside. The birds were chirping, which made sense because my mom loved to feed the birds. So I felt like she was sending them my way. They lined up on the railing, and it was just a good day. I remembered her as I was walking past the rocks and everything. So just go somewhere that holds memory with them and let yourself be there. I spent maybe like an hour or two there just sitting there, and then I read some of my book, and it was just a really good low-key connecting with my mom day. And then quiet rituals I found were very popular, and that would be like lighting a candle, saying a prayer, wearing a piece of their jewelry, or just sitting with, a cup of coffee and talking to them out loud. That is very spiritual. That is very intimate. It's very private, but that seems to be when a lot of people feel the closest to them. I know I do feel closest with my mom on a early morning, drinking my coffee, sitting on the couch, because that's what she did. So if that's what makes you feel close to your person, do that. It's really, really beautiful. And then some people do like mini gatherings. Okay, so group text. You can have a group text where you just talk about your person, share memories. In my case, which made my August 10th this year amazing, was I didn't just have a group text. The group text made it out of the chat. The group made it out of the chat. So my dad, my aunt, which is my mom's only living sibling left, and my two cousins, they came over to my house and we had pizza and subs, which were like two of my mom's favorites. She loved pizza, she loved subs, and we just had a game night and we just hung out with each other. It was great. It was probably the most fun I've had on her anniversary, her death anniversary, in these past 4 years. I felt very close to her. I felt as if she was smiling down on us. I felt like if she was here, she would have coordinated this anyway. You know, if she was here and it was just a random Sunday, she would have been like, you know, call your auntie and Tommy and Boo over and let's get some games out and let's order a pizza. Like, that's something that she would have wanted to do. So I felt like I was just holding space for her in that time, and it was the best day. I also went to church that morning. I've been on my journey of trying to find my church home here in my city. So I went to church that morning. My mom was really big on church. She didn't have a church home, but she watched church on TV every day, all day. And the service was just really great. It's really spoke to me. I loved the worship part of it. And it kicked off the day in the best way for me. So it was a really, really good day. So the point is not to make the day happy. The day is to make it yours. So instead of just letting it feel like a date that happens to you, a date that just appears on the calendar every week or every year, you get to decide how you hold it. And if happy is how you feel, if happy is how you hold it, then that's even better, in my opinion. So here's your permission slip from me. Not that you need permission from me, but if it makes you feel better, I'm giving it to you, okay? That you do not have to do the same thing every year, okay? You don't have to force celebration if you're not feeling it. The day, like I said, is an emotional mixed bag, right? It's a mystery bag. So you may be happy one year, and then you may be sad and more, more affected by it the next year. Some years you'll be full on legacy honoring mode, and other years the best you can do is put on some sweatpants and order takeout. That's completely fine, and it still honors your person because you're acknowledging what happened that day with them, right? And the right way to, handle this day is however you need to handle it in that season of your life. There's no scorecard. Nobody's keeping track. Oh, Kayla, you were sad last year and now you're happy. That doesn't make sense. No one's keeping track of that. There's no gold stars for anything. There's no penalties for anything. It's just you, your heart, and the person that you are remembering. So just keep that in mind as the year rolls around. So if that day is coming up for you, whether it's soon or a few months away, I hope this does give you a little nudge to approach it with a softer lens. Let it be what it is. Acknowledge the goodbye that you had to give your person, but also make it about the connection and the love. And remember that this day doesn't just mark when they left. It marked that they were here and that they mattered. And if today resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it, whose anniversary date is coming up, or who may struggle during this time and they just need to know that it can get better. Please share it with them. And seriously, message me over on Instagram at Whole Lotta Heart Podcast. Tell me how you honor your person. I love to hear the sweet and the funny and the creative ways that you keep their memory alive. Maybe there's some ways I can incorporate into my own journey. And before I go, just a quick reminder that this is episode 9 of Whole Lotta Heart, which means that we only have 2 or 3 more episodes left in what I'm calling season 1, which has been Grief 101 or Grief Basics. So season 2 is getting ready for you. So I'm really excited to be wrapping up season 1 because I have some fun things planned for season 2. And next week is extra special because my sister is coming on the podcast and we're talking about how two people can grieve the same loss in completely different ways. It's going to be a raw, real, and conversation and probably involve at least one sisterly roast, okay? So make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss it. So until next time, don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself grace and remember the love and the connection that you share with your person. Talk to you soon.